Alright, today I'll be showing you guys how to build your own string jig and make your first string. Alrighty, morning everybody. Scott here from Ridgewalker Bows again. We are going to do a little project today. I already got like a string jig. Ta-da! This one's an old one that I made up, I don't know, a few years ago now I suppose. Anyway, so it's getting a little bit worn out, like where I adjust the string length and everything. So I'm just going to make a new one. So I thought, hey, why not show you guys how simple and easy it is to make a jig and also then to make a string. It's not really rocket science. It's like everything, you just got to have a few goes at it. It doesn't take long to make half decent strings. Anyway, so we'll get to it. So basically what you need is just some sort of a piece of timber, scrap piece of timber. I like to make my jig so it only goes up and down once. So my jig's a bit longer. If you need to or want to make it real short, then the jig's just going to go up, back up again, and then back down. You see on this jig I've got like heaps of pins. I don't need that many pins, and these are for like my loops. I'm going to make them a little bit different as well, so I'm going to have one big one, and then this one here I'll adjust to be a bit smaller. So you just need that. I'm just using a few arrow shafts, so cut them to a few inches, and they're for like the pins. And then, so we're basically just marking out where you wrap the strings around, the string loops, and then we'll do a whole bunch of either half-inch or inch increments down the middle. It's nothing too crazy, so anyway, I'll bring you in a bit closer and we'll get going with it. Alright, so it's got my square and stuff. Just gonna bring in a couple of lines. This piece of timber is was 140 mil wide. So I'm just gonna come in 50 or, no, we'll make it 30 mil on each side. Draw myself a line. Same thing on the other side. Sorry, hit everything. Cool. Yeah, then I'm just going to come in a couple of inches from the end of the piece of timber. That'll be my first one. Must have made it about an inch apart. I'm just going to do a few that are 1.5 inches apart. So I reckon you have 4 pins. Just like that. Alright, then I'm going to leave about 5 inches between that one and where I'm going to be putting my loops. And so one loop, which is actually my top string loop, I'm going to have just over 1 inch. And this one here I'm going to do probably about 3/4, I think, will be good. Maybe a bit close to 1 inch. Just a little bit different. because the bottom knock, I have it just nice and tight on there. Next thing is we'll mark the center up the center. And then we're marking from the end of those loops, where those pins will be. I'll go 32. And then we'll do every inch. So there's not much more than that. So it's just marking out every inch. So you got down the center of the board, every inch from these loops. You can see that there. So basically got a few stages where you stagger the string out. Just over an inch for your top loop, just under an inch for your bottom loop. And then so from the end of the loop marks, just measure down to whatever string length you sort of want. I just started mine at 32 inches, so for a 64-inch string, which is for like a 60, almost like a 68-inch bow really. So plenty of space there, and then just do every inch down so you can adjust your string length. Pretty simple. So now we'll just go through, we'll cut up a bunch of lengths of old arrow shafts, drill the holes, and you can glue them in, or if it's a nice tight fit, just leave it how it is. Done. I'm cutting these at about 2 inches. Alrighty, so now that you've got the holes drilled, got all that nice and neat and everything that you like, for this I end up doing 10 at 2 inches, 2 at 3 inches, and then 1 would be about 4 inches. The reason I do that is because these are all 2 inches all along here, and this one here at the back will be 2 inches, and the one just in front of it a little bit will actually be 3 inches. And when you're making the string, you'll see it just makes life a little bit easier when you're doing the twisting here. And the one that's a bit longer you'll use for the peg. Alright, so now we're going to make a string. So what you need is your board. I did end up actually just drilling some extra holes. I did like every ½ inch. I think that might make it a bit better. I think because my string that I sort of ended up measuring was a little bit off. So anyway, you'll find out after you've made a string anyway. So what you need is your board, your string, and a bit of wax. Tie a little knot in the end. Stick that around the last peg. He's going around, all the way around. Oops, forgot to do my measurement. Coming around. Then doing it however many strands you need to do. This is X99, so you need a lot of strands. Usually I use D97. hold that down, slice it all through. Whilst this is all still together, I'll just quickly put some wax through. You're going to start your wax about here. And I'll kick this over like that. Another lot. Again, wax your bundle. So whilst these are all still in place, then grab the both of them. And what you're doing is, one of these you're twisting this way, and then you put this over top. Then you twist this one this way, around that way, and then fold it over. We're going on this side of the peg. This is why this peg's a bit taller. I might zoom these in, get a bit closer. Hopefully you guys can see a bit better. Twist it that way, fold them over. Twist, fold. If you're trying to like pull it a bit and it's sort of like pulling back from here, you can just grab these ones and just wrap them around a few times. So it'll help sort of just hold all the strings together for you a bit. See? Fold it over, back this way. Cool, just keep going. Till it wraps around itself like that. Let's do one more. Depends on your bow, how big you want these loops to sort of be really. Oops. Okay. And then you're taking that off. So they're together now. Like that. Take that off and then you take it down and put it over down here. Unwrap that. Here, make sure you can see. Yep. Now wrap this over here. And then again, same thing. So you'd see how they're together like that. And then you squeeze all these together. Okay, and same thing, spin it, fold it over. Spin it, fold it over. Every couple that you've done, you just need to like push the string out all the way over to the end. There we go, then you can just give it a little bit of a tug. Make sure it's looking good. And you just keep going down all the way until there's no more string left. These little tails. And once you're down near the end there, give it a little bit of a rough. Then I like to just put a little clamp on there just to make sure it can't come undone. But that's just me. I'll bring you back up here. Now that we have this, you'll see this string now has sort of like curls in it. So now we're going to undo all that. So you just untwist it. So all these strands are nice and straight. It looks a bit nicer. Alrighty, and then we've got to back twist it. So when we're just putting that together, we'll like this, and we're twisting over this way. So now we want to put some twist into this. It all sort of makes sense when you do it. So you're pretending we're going to be doing like this, so we're going to be folding over this way, so we want to go the opposite. So the right hand over the left hand, like that. 1, 2, I do about 30. Cool. So you got all that back twisted now. Now I take this off this loop, I put it around this one, and this wraps around the end, and that's going to be our length for the string now. Okay, so that's the length of the string that you want. And the same thing, so we're going to put some wax on this. You want the racks to come down over here, but okay, and then we're going to go around this peg now. Same thing. You're going to pull that nice and tight. I like my loops to be a fair bit smaller on the bottom. It's a nice little loop. Okay, and then you're taking this off. So that's our length now. You've got your loop, and we put that back over the end. Cool. Again, same thing. Twisting, wrap it around, twist it, wrap it around. And you see that's why we put the back twist in it. So as we're twisting this, it's actually coming undone down here. Further down here, it's coming undone. So you just keep going, but it'll be about 30 twists. Almost there, another couple. Okay, and that's our string. Give that a bit of a pull, clean it up a little bit. Looking good. Okay, and then we've got all this down here. Bring it back up here. So now we've got this hanging off. And see how this is all untwisted? See how it's not actually twisted between the 2 points? That's sort of what you want. And then, so now you put the twist in it. Okay? So you'll figure out how to twist it. See? And you put some twists in it. And that'll shorten up your string a little bit. So just keep winding it. Put your finger in the loop. Make sure this is down, right down the bottom there. And then you can give it a decent pull. See, and the string's looking real nice. Okay. And then we'll get the tape measure out and we'll measure it. We'll see how close we are for the first string off this jig. Perfect. I needed a 57-inch string, and that's 57. Alrighty. So then you got your, there you go. So you got your little loop for the bottom and big loop for the top. Okay, on my bows I've got quite small tips, the bows that I make. So my loops are quite small, but you obviously just got to adjust your size for your loops for the bow that you're doing it for. But so I ended up having to do little 1/2-inch holes because I was 1/2 inch out as such. See, when you're doing all these holes, just do 1/2 inch increments, and when you've got yours done, then I know that there now is a 57-inch string. And you can write that next to that if you want. And then it's basically, you know, every inch then after that. So as you can see, not too hard, yeah, and then we just chuck that on the bow and put serving on. Alrighty guys, this is the finished product. As I was saying, as we're building it, it's not like you have to paint it, you have to route it, you have to do any of those sorts of things. So the only thing I would recommend maybe changing for when you're actually doing it is just drill these holes at every 1/2 inch. Just make it a bit easier for you to get your first string. As you can see, so all these are the same height. They don't need to be very long, but just make these ones the same height. That one there the same height. Make these two here a little bit longer. When you're making the string, it just makes it a little bit easier when you're twisting it, and then you slide it down, wrap it around, and keep going. So go over the measurements again. So from the end of your board, you come in 2 inches, I think it was. Yeah, 2 inches come in. And then every 1.5 inches, we want a peg, 4 pegs. And then from the last peg to the first peg for your loops, that's 5 inches. And then between this one and this one for your big loop, I did just over 1 inch, but depends on what type of bow you have. Whether you want it to be nice and small like that, or if you want it to be more like 2 inches. Some big old recurves have got real big fat tips on them, stuff like that. So, and big wide limbs, so you need to be able to have the loop just that bit bigger. So you might want to have that at, you know, 1.5 inches, say, or something like that. And then same with this one. I make mine real tiny so that it doesn't really like fall off the bow easily. And then you're just going from this measurement from here, the end of this, to your peg, and then back over to this one, and that's your string length, okay? But a good easy way to do it is just get the string off your bow, wrap it around there, and then that should basically be your string length. It'll be just a smidge, like, so that there is actually the correct length. But you'll see, like, when you make it, it ends up being just a little bit different. But that's the thing, you just got to make your first string. Once you've got a bit of a knack for it, it all becomes easier and easier, and you'll get your little spot on there for your bow, or, you know, whatever. And then you know that the way that I do it on that peg there makes me a 57-inch string. And then so you know that from that point you just go 1 inch up, inch down, and all that to make different length strings. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you need. So you just need your string material, piece of board, an old arrow shaft, a few measuring tools, get yourself some string. This is X99, so some people really like X99. It's a pretty good bowstring material. I do 18 strands and then use 25 thou serving, or you can use D97 string. D97 is probably one of the most popular. That's what I use the most as well. So D97, I do 12 strands of that, and then the 25 thou serving. Anyway, so I hope that sort of shows you. So you literally, like, we're talking, it wasn't even 2 hours from, like, in real time of me starting this and also doing all the filming, making the board, making everything, and then making the first string. So have a crack, guys.